Hi, I'm here with Andrew Stead of Your Daily Bread. And Andrew, what is it that's given you the inspiration to create your company, Your Daily Bread?
Well, hi Mark, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, you?
Excellent. Very, very well, thank you. Yeah. Well, really, it's from my own personal experience, Mark. A number of years ago, when I first left university, I started working for an investment bank, which these days is obviously a dreadful thing to have gone and done. And I worked there for about almost a decade. And although I enjoyed myself and I had a great time there, to be honest, it wasn't what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And
Mm.
I left there. It was a little bit soul destroying in some respects, and I left there and had some time off, and then wanted to try and do things which I felt were a little bit more important. And I always came back to this whole idea of well-being and health and what was going to be good for me and the planet and so on and so forth. And actually, in the meantime, I set up a green business, helping people make buildings rather environmentally friendly. Um, but after that, I still reverted to this whole question of well-being and personal fulfillment. And I started to read around the subject because quite a lot has changed actually in the last 10 years. There's been a lot of new science on this subject of happiness and well-being. A lot of things that we've all thought about for a long time have now become empirically verified one way or the other. And I think this is a real game changer for this whole subject, to be honest. The 21st century, we're in a different space where we understand and we can think about things scientifically with regards to our personal well-being. So that's what I really picked up, and I wanted to apply the techniques and the information that I'd learned, some of which I learned at university, to be honest, when I did a management studies degree, some of which was in that banking environment, more of it in the small business environment that I worked in. And of course, I've read around the subject. More importantly, I've practiced a huge amount.
Mm.
And I really feel that a lot of people, particularly in the cities that we live in these days, struggle to get to grips with these things. They feel dislocated from themselves. And I wanted to try and right that ship a little bit, give something back and share many of the things that I found helpful with other people, basically.
So you're doing it from a personal cause basis as well as, hoping that it will filter through to people who need it the most.
Absolutely, but what I also did in the meantime is it's definitely from a personal cause. What I also did as part of the research, I looked around some of the problems which are engulfing the globe at the moment. Right around the world, whether it's some of the poverty issues, some of the global warming issues, but really, again, people's happiness. We've mechanized and technologized, and we've grown wealthier over the last 60 years, but really sadly, we've not really grown any more happy,
Yeah.
and our well-being has actually tailed off slightly.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's a global problem. It's not just my problem or some of the people who might come to me. It's actually everybody is generally feeling that way. And I think it's happening at a national, international level, at a community level. We all know this sort of stuff too, whether it's examples like the London riots or these kind of things, the increase of depression. And at a personal level, people are really struggling. They're
Mm.
getting, they're physically unhealthy, their relationships are breaking down. They're getting less organized and confused by all this wealth of information that we have, and they're struggling to sift through it. And of course, on a work basis, on their professional careers, it's really hitting people too. People are getting stressed out, worn out, or even burned out. So
Mm.
it's hitting everyone at all different angles.
So what is it you're doing about that, and who are you aiming for?
Well, what I decided to do was, how could I share some of the things that I've learned, and some of the information and the techniques, more importantly, that I've learned. And so I started running a program, and sharing these things with people. It was over 8 weeks at that point in time, and it was really based around the science, as I say. Everything is empirically based. And secondly, about the practical techniques. So what I like to do is try and give people stuff that they can walk away with. There's simple techniques that they can build into their everyday life. It doesn't involve years and years of practice. It just involves starting something afresh and moving it forward and then building on those things.
Mm.
So as I say, I started giving seminars, running programs. And then this year I've actually built up a little bit further. And what I've really done, I'm building up to a big event that's coming up over the next few weeks where I'm involving some really exciting, globally renowned experts in each of the individual fields that I've chosen.
And who would benefit from taking part in your Daily Bread programs or this event even?
Well, to some extent, everyone can benefit. I mean, I say this, when I ask people to grade their happiness out of 10, obviously people who are 0 to 3, that's what I would term, they're struggling. They're in the depressed state, many people, and they're in the form of, they're requiring resilience. They need to bounce back. 4 to 7, people they're doing okay, but they could do better. They want to get happier, and they can move themselves into those top echelons. But at 8, 9, and 10, even people at 8, 9, and 10, if I asked you to measure it now and you said, well, I'm a 9, thank you, Andrew. Even people at that level, they can learn to do that more consistently, or even just keep it up there more regularly. So I think everybody can benefit. I mean, from my personal background, obviously I've had a history in things like the city, and I've been very fortunate to be educated about these things. So it speaks to lots of people who are in stressful jobs, but it really doesn't matter. People have come from teaching, from being unemployed, from being depressed. I mean, you name it. They've come from all sorts of walks of life. So I think at different levels, everyone can benefit from these things. And it's not just me. As I say, there's a whole science around this. It's I'm just hopefully trying to share with people some of the things that I have learned and that I've found really helpful.
Well, I can certainly feel the passion around your message. So let's talk more about this event that you're pulling together. What is it, and when's it happening, and all that kind of information, please.
Well, again, like we talked about a little bit before, I'm really passionate about the scientific side of it, and I think we all respond to the experts in any particular field. So what I looked at were what I consider to be the 5 main areas where people can benefit, the main areas of people's life. And then to be honest, I went on a mission, and I went out and found what I consider to be literally the top experts in each of those fields from around the country. And they're not only are they experts in their own individual field, but they're actually wonderful people, Mark. And that's why I really like working with them. The reason why I've also chosen these people as the group that they are is they've all got quite different backgrounds too. So one of them has been a massive overachiever in sport. He was actually a gold medal Olympic rower. That doesn't come that easily. Another of them is an extremely well known author. And he's had bestseller after bestseller. There's another bestseller out at the moment. And he's one of the people who really does advise all of the governments, Labour, Tory, and internationally. So these types of people, they all have very different experiences, but they've also got this element of change in their own lives. They've also gone through these changes. So I think that they're bringing together something quite different as well from just reading the stuff in a book or even attending a course. I think that variety is really, really great, and I'm really excited about it.
And who are your speakers? Are you able to tell me? Excuse me.
I can share with you, Mark, if you veritably twist my arm. Yes, indeed.
Well, I've just turned the mic off. You heard me do that. I just dropped it. So there you go. Who's coming to the day?
So the first area is the area of personal change. And that's all about empowering yourself and understanding really the nuts and bolts of how change happens on a personal level. And that's going back to our Olympic rower, someone who really understands how that works. It's someone who does motivational speaking, if you like. And his name is Ben Hunt Davis. He's a wonderful character. He was heavily involved in the recent Olympics in London. So he's an interesting person to speak to and chat about many of the other things that he doesn't even teach and coach people about.
Yeah.
The next area is physical health. And in particular, what interests me here, and in particular what interests the speaker who I'm lucky enough to work with on this area of physical health, is this business about how our brain is related to our physical health. And so really the impact of those two things together. And that's a wonderful author called David Hamilton, and he's very well known. He's written a number of great books recently. Why Kindness is Good for You, for example. He's working on another book at the moment, which I think is going to be released in November. And he's a fantastic speaker too. So that's the second bit on physical health. The third area is really our mental and emotional well-being. And what better area to focus on this, for someone who is well known in the area of positive psychology. And this is someone who studied under Martin Seligman herself, and really is right at the cutting edge of this stuff in the UK. And her name is Vanessa King, and she's a wonderful lady too. So she also has lots of this practical stuff, and each of the speakers really talk about their practical experiences and also how to apply this stuff in everyday life. Fourth key area, Mark, is simply the area of relationships. I'm sure we can all do a bit better. It's again very well documented that relationships are one of the key aspects of happiness. And Susan Quilliam, who was actually on this morning last week with Philip Schofield, she's extremely well known. She's an agony aunt, and she does lots of these different things around the area of relationships and so on. So she does a great job on that, and with her practical techniques as well, obviously. And then the final person is for the area of work and wealth, which I put together because I think they do have a relationship together, which people often try and forget about. And actually, This is the person who's going to do that part is actually Oliver James, and he's an extremely well-known author. Millions of copies sold around the world, particularly for his books. They F You Up and Affluenza. I mean, and Affluenza was really one of the books which has influenced me for this whole journey. So he's going to be the speaker, really, usually the final slot, the area of work and wealth.
Great. Well,
fits in incidentally with his latest book, Office Politics. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
He launched in March, so it fits absolutely perfectly with his book.
Absolutely, and a great lineup of different speakers, experts in their field, and like you say, looking at all the significant relationships, different areas of people's lives that I'm sure will be valuable on that day. So, where can we find out more about this?
Well, there's a website, if you like, Mark, www.your-daily-bread.co.uk.
Great.
/S, the number 4, and then L.
Okay.
So that's your-daily-bread.co.uk /S, the number 4, and then L. And you can find details there, or just on the website. I'm sure people can phone in.
And I guess the event's happening in London, is it?
It is in central London, excuse my French. And the other thing I forgot to mention just while we're talking about the experts, which is the fact that aside from all their expertise, they're just wonderful people. That's the nicest thing, and their warmth comes across. So when people come to the day, they're going to get a lot of warmth from those people, learn extraordinary things from their knowledge, and also get these practical application things that they can really walk away with. And in that single day, they really will alter their physical health, mental well-being. Their relationships will alter. Their professional life will improve too.
Fantastic. Sounds like a well worth visiting event.
I hope so. I mean, I'm obviously, as you can probably tell from the tone of my voice, extremely excited about it. It's a real privilege to be working with any of these people, never mind all.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting.
Great stuff. Well, thank you very much for your time, Andrew, and look forward to hearing all about your event in the future and how it's gone, and hopefully it goes brilliantly well, and look forward to speaking to you soon.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.